Good morning, grade 12. Today we are tackling the last lesson for management and leadership, where we are going to look specifically at leadership styles. Right, we are going to look at different leadership styles. We're going to look at the democratic leadership style, the autocratic leadership style, transactional style, the charismatic leadership style, and the laissez-faire style. So for each leadership style, we are going to look specifically at situations in which the leadership style is applicable, so in situations where it can be used, and then we're also going to evaluate the impact of each leadership style in terms of its advantages and disadvantages. The first leadership style we're going to look at is the democratic leadership style. So the different situations where a leadership style can be used are as follows. If your group members are skilled and they're eager to share their ideas. In other words, everybody that is in the group or in the department or in the business are skilled, they are knowledgeable, they know what they are doing, and they are eager to share their ideas. So they would like to share their opinion, they would like to participate in the decision making. Secondly, if the leader does not have all the information needed to make a decision and the employees does have valuable information to contribute. All right, so if the leader is not necessarily the most knowledgeable out of the group and he knows that the employees are knowledgeable and they have information that they would like to share that the leader might not have. Obviously, it is a good idea then to allow employees to share the information that they do have, because in this case, it will make the group more successful. It will help them to reach their goal. Also, thirdly, when cooperation is needed between a leader and a team, so obviously team members would like to feel valued, they would like to feel like they are participating and they are contributing to this team, then a democratic leadership style will be a good one. And lastly, if decisions needs to be looked at from several perspectives. Okay, so obviously different people think differently, and if the leader allows team members to also have an opinion and talk about their opinions, it will allow the group to look at a problem from different perspectives. One person will think of maybe one thing, but if you allow your team members to also bring in their perspective, they are able to provide information and provide an opinion on things that the leader didn't necessarily even think about. All right, so it allows people to give, remember, a group is going to be diverse. So each person in this team is going to think differently and are going to think of different ideas, which then in a democratic leadership can actually be shared with everybody, and they can literally choose the best one. The impact of democratic leadership, okay, in terms of its advantages, is firstly that it allows employees to participate in the decision-making process. So your employees are going to feel empowered, they're going to feel valued, they're not just going to feel that they are just there. All right, they feel that they are actually participating and that they have a say in how things are done. Staff can also give a variety of ideas. As I said just now, your team is going to be diverse and different people in the team is going to come with different ideas if you allow them and different points of view, which means that you can come up with creative solutions. It is going to lead to innovation, new ideas, new production methods, new products even, and improved production methods, which will increase the sales. Now, anything that is innovative, a new product that you can come up with, a new marketing idea that is going to capture your market, a new production method that is going to decrease costs maybe. All right, all of this is going to help the business to maximize their profits, to make more money in the future. There's also clear two-way communication, and that ensures group commitment. All right, the minute that people feel that they are just being instructed and they don't feel that they're actually participating in the decision making, they don't necessarily buy in to the solution. In the case of a democratic leadership, all the team members are allowed to give their ideas and to give their opinions and to come with their viewpoints. And that means that there's going to be good communication, not just from the leader to the employees, but also from the employees to the leader and employees amongst themselves. And if you allow your employees to also participate in the decision making, they are going to be committed to the final decision because it's going to feel as if that decision was theirs. It is not just going to be a decision that is forced upon them. They made this decision together, and that will mean that they will buy in to this decision, and everybody is going to cooperate and be committed to their jobs. Authority is delegated, which also can motivate and inspire workers to be more productive. Okay, as I said, people don't always like to just be told what to do, all right? Okay, as teenagers, you get told what to do very often, okay? But people like to make their own choices. So if authority is delegated, if it's not just a case of the leader shouting instructions, employees feel more motivated and more inspired to actually do their job well because they feel that they are understood a little bit better and they feel motivated, they feel inspired, they feel empowered, they feel that they can actually make a difference, they feel that they are heard. All right, so it motivates them to want to do their job because they participated in the decision making. It wasn't a decision that was just enforced upon them. Complex decisions can also be made with the inputs from skilled workers. As I said, the problems or the challenges that businesses are faced with is not always straightforward, and the solution is not always kind of in your face. So when you make use of a democratic leadership, we allow the employees to come with their skills and their knowledge and their viewpoints, and we are able to find more creative solutions to the challenges that the business is facing. It's not just one person's knowledge that is going to determine the answer. Everybody's knowledge comes into play, everybody's opinions come into play, and better decisions can actually be made like this. On the negative side, if your staff is inexperienced or they are not fully informed, the democratic leadership style can actually lead to an incorrect decision being made. Remember, the first thing that we said was a situation. When do we use a democratic leadership style? If my employees are knowledgeable and they have information. So if your staff is inexperienced, they're not fully informed, they don't really have that much knowledge yet, then by giving them a democratic leadership and allowing them to participate in the decision making, it can actually lead to incorrect decisions because they are deciding on things that they actually know nothing about. Decision making can also be time consuming because obviously now we have to consult all the stakeholders. We have to now first discuss the different solutions and we have to discuss everything with the employees because we have this democratic leadership style now. So the leader can't just make a decision. All right, there first has to be discussions and consultations between all the employees, and together they have to make a decision that is obviously going to take a bit longer. Employees also might feel discouraged if their opinions are not considered. Okay, so although we're using a democratic leadership style, it doesn't automatically mean that we are going to use every single employee's ideas. All right, still every employee is giving ideas, but we are still going to be choosing the best idea. All right, so there might be employees that participated and they gave their ideas, and we end up never choosing their opinion. We don't value their opinion. We don't choose their solution, and they might actually feel discouraged. Yeah, they're going to feel that they only pretend to listen to us because they're not even using our ideas, and that can demotivate them as well. Leaders can also rely too much on the input of the followers. We must remember the leader or the manager is still in charge. The final decision still rests on that guy. All right. So when we use a democratic leadership style, it might lead to a situation where the leader himself actually kind of avoids making a decision. He lets the employees, he lets the followers kind of discuss things and he allows them to give their input. And then he doesn't physically actually make a final decision. It becomes too easy to let the employees just decide. ultimately the leader still has the responsibility to make that final decision. And the risk with the democratic leadership is that sometimes this doesn't happen. All right, obviously a democratic leadership style, because it is so time consuming, is not effective in times of a crisis when there's a quick decision that has to be made. All right, so let's say, for example, the building is on fire. All right, a democratic leader we can't use in this case. Now, we can't quickly call all the employees together and right, let's quickly consult with everybody and everybody, let's discuss this fire that is now burning down our office. What is everybody's now suggestion? Eh? What does everybody suggest we now do? And then we discuss it and whatever. By this time, everybody's burned to death. Okay? So democratic leadership style cannot be used in a time of a crisis. When it's an emergency situation, a quick decision has to be made. We cannot consult with everybody so that they can just now feel like they've participated. In a time of a crisis, the democratic leadership will be the absolutely wrong thing to do. Also, very important is that some employees only pretend to participate. Okay, so they know it is expected of them to participate. Not everybody likes to participate. So some employees might only pretend that they are actually participating in decision making, and their feedback is actually not even accurate. Right, they just look at what everybody else is doing, and then yes, okay, I also vote for that. All right, so they're not honest necessarily about what they think is going to work, what is not going to work. They don't come with an innovative idea because they don't really want to participate. They're just pretending because they know that it is expected of them. The second leadership style we are looking at is the autocratic leadership style. So situations where the autocratic leadership style can be used are as follows. This is the one that is applicable in a crisis situation. Okay, so the previous example that I gave in the case of a fire or an accident, an autocratic leadership style is called for. Okay, I said when we are in a fire situation, we can't quickly discuss the problem and come up with solutions. Then the leader is merely going to say, quickly, pack up your stuff, let's evacuate. Now, he's going to give an instruction. That is a crisis situation. Secondly, when all the information is available to solve the problem. If all the information is available, obviously we don't need the input of all the employees now because we have the information already to solve the problem. In emergencies or urgent situations, for example, when there is a tight deadline, remember we said the democratic leadership style is time consuming because it takes time to now first ask everybody for their opinions and have everybody give their input and then finally decide. That is going to take time. So when we are operating against a tight deadline and the deadline is very close, obviously we can't waste time by first asking everybody's input, right? So if there's an emergency or an urgent situation where the deadline is looming and we need to make a quick decision, an autocratic leadership style would be the correct one. When employees are motivated and the leader has already earned the trust of the followers. So in other words, employees have worked with this leader before and they've been working with him for a while and they trust. They trust their leader. They believe that he is going to make the right decisions. Okay, so if he has the respect and the trust of his followers, a leader can make an autocratic decision because if the followers they trust him, they will obviously believe that his decision is going to be the right one. Second last one is when dealing with employees who are not cooperative. Obviously, your democratic leadership style can only be used if your employees are willing to cooperate. So in a case where employees are not cooperative, they don't want to participate, an autocratic leadership style is called for. And then lastly, when employees are new and you're not yet fully trained. So in other words, they are still new at the organization. They don't necessarily have all the information that they need. They've not yet been fully trained. They obviously cannot participate in the decision making if they don't know yet what they are doing. Then ultimately, the autocratic leader will make the decision himself. The impact of autocratic leadership on the positive side, quick decisions can be taken because we don't have to consult with employees. Autocratic leadership means the leader just makes the decision. He doesn't consult with all of his employees and he doesn't ask them for their opinion. So a quick decision can be made. This is why we said this is suitable when a deadline is imminent. Work is going to get done in time and on schedule because time is not wasted on consultation with everybody. The autocratic leader is just going to make a decision, he's going to delegate the tasks, and the work is going to get done in quick time, and everything will be completed on schedule. The line of command is very clear because it is top down, and this means, in other words, that the instruction will come from the leader or from the manager. So the followers, the employees, are going to know exactly what to do because they are going to receive their instructions from the leader or the manager. All right, so they're not wondering what has to be done next. They're not discussing it first. There's a clear line of command. They get their instructions from the top and they just do their job. There's direct supervision and strict control, and that will ensure a high quality of goods and services. Obviously, in the case of an autocratic leader, he has to monitor that his instructions has been followed to the letter. So obviously the leader will have to supervise what the employees are doing, and he will have to make sure that they are following the instructions that they were given. And because of this, because of being supervised all the time, and being controlled all the time and being watched over all the time, each employee obviously is going to do their job very well because they don't want to get into trouble, and that means that there will be a high quality of goods and services. Their jobs will be done properly. Strong leadership also makes employees feel confident and safe. Remember, we said autocratic leadership is used in a situation where employees might be new and still uncertain, they haven't been trained 100% yet, and having a strong leader that is willing to take charge will make these new and inexperienced employees feel safer, and it'll make them more confident to perform the tasks that he allocates to them. This autocratic leadership works very well in a large company where there's many employees, where obviously it becomes very impractical to consult with every single employee before a decision is actually being made. All right, so if you are literally working in a large organization and there's 1,000 workers, obviously it is impossible to consult with every single one of your employees before you make a decision, because 3 years is going to pass and you're still not going to have a decision. So in large businesses where there's really many employees and it is impractical to actually consult with everybody, sometimes an autocratic leadership will work better because he is able then to make a quick decision because he doesn't have to consult with 1,000 different people. Lastly, clear guidance can be given to low-skilled or inexperienced staff. As I said, the autocratic leadership style works well if employees are new and inexperienced, they don't know a lot yet, they don't have all the information yet, they are still nervous about making their own decisions. When there's an autocratic leader, he can provide clear guidance and clear instructions, so workers that are inexperienced or don't have all the relevant information, they haven't been trained yet, they don't have to think for themselves. They will get clear instructions from their leader, and obviously they can do their job according to the specifications. On the negative side, leaders and followers may become divided, all right? So there might be a feeling of, okay, managers there on one side and the employees here on the other side, and managers is in a different class of their own and we can't mingle with the managers, etc. So it can create a divide in the business, which means that leaders and followers might not always agree on what the correct way is to solve a problem. And obviously the followers are not participating in the decision making, so they might feel that they are overlooked. Workers can become demotivated because they feel that their ideas is not considered. Okay, so as soon as your inexperienced staff gain some more experience, they get more comfortable in their positions, they can start feeling that they are just there to follow instructions, that they are not given any kind of leeway as to make creative decisions of their own. They might feel that their ideas is not considered, that they are not valued by the leader, and then they can become demotivated. They're not going to do their job as well as what we expect them to do. Demotivated workers obviously impact negatively on productivity because they are feeling demotivated. They are not going to put in the extra effort. They're not going to walk that extra mile at the workplace. They are not they're not giving their best. All right, and that can lead to a drop in productivity. So they're not going to work as hard as what they would have if they were motivated. New and creative ideas may never be considered. Okay, obviously, diversity is a good thing. We're going to look at this in another chapter as well. All right, so because we are now not consulting our employees, we are only literally looking at the opinion and the ideas of your autocratic leader. So the employees might have good ideas, creative ideas, ideas on how they can reduce the cost and increase the profits, ideas of a new marketing campaign to increase sales. But those ideas is never considered because they are not being asked for their opinion. They're not being allowed to actually voice their own opinions. Followers or the employees can also feel that they are not valued. As I said there, they feel like they are just little soldiers that have to just comply and just follow their instructions. And the minute that employees are not happy and they feel demotivated, they feel that they are not important at the workplace, that is going to result in a high absenteeism, okay, because they feel that nobody's even going to miss them if they're not there, because even if they are there, they are not being consulted. They are just having to do their job or whatever. Nobody even sees them, nobody values them, nobody cares about them. That is going to lead to high absenteeism. People are not going to come to work. They're going to think of reasons to not come to work. And obviously this is going to impact negatively on productivity. And ultimately, if they are unhappy enough, it is also going to lead to a high employee turnover. They are not going to want to work in this business anymore. They are going to start looking for another job where they might be more valued, where they might have more of an input and a say at the workplace. And remember, when there's a high employee turnover, this creates a very negative public image for the business. People outside the business is going to wonder what the hell's going on inside of that business. They can't even keep their workers for longer than 6 months. You're not going to be able to attract new employees because nobody wants to come and work there, because why is there constantly people leaving? They're going to start thinking that something is wrong and nobody will want to work there. Experienced and highly skilled workers will always resist autocratic leadership style, because if your employees are highly skilled and they have experience, they have something to contribute and they would like to make a contribution. And with an autocratic leadership style, they are not being allowed to share their knowledge and share their experience and participate in decision making. And that is going to result, obviously, in them being less creative. They are going to participate less and less. They're going to become more demotivated. And as I said, ultimately, it's going to lead to them actually leaving the organization. And then the organization have lost all of that experience that that person has, all the knowledge that that person has to share is then gone because he didn't feel valued. What is also important is that we know the differences between a democratic leadership style and an autocratic leadership style. They are basically polar opposites. In a democratic leadership style, we said that the leader involves employees in the decision-making process. Okay, so there's consultation with employees. The leader doesn't make the decision all on his own. He involves the employees. Employees can give their own ideas before a decision is ultimately made. In an autocratic leadership style, the leader obviously makes the decision by himself. There's no consultation with employees at all. The leader will take all the information that he has at his disposal, and he will make the decision by himself. In a democratic leadership style, there is two-way communication, and this ensures that the group, the employees, are committed to the final decision that is being made. Okay, so two-way communication means that the leader will speak to the employees, but the employees will speak to the leader. Everybody participates in the decision making, which means that your employees will be committed to the final decision because they participated in making that decision. In an autocratic leadership style, there's a clear line of command. Okay, we said that the command is top-down, communication is top-down. So basically the leader is going to just give instructions to his followers, to the employees, and the employees will be told exactly what is expected of them. A democratic leadership style is more people-orientated because obviously people's feelings and people's opinions are considered and different people can voice their opinions, whereas in the autocratic leadership style, it is more task-orientated. The opinions of the employees are not asked for and it is not considered in making that final decision. In an autocratic leadership style, the focus is very much on getting the job done. Where in a democratic leadership style, it is more about the people, the people that is involved in the decision-making process. So it's more people-orientated and it's more caring towards people. Whereas an autocratic leadership style, as I said, it's all about getting the job done. In a democratic leadership style, we said that your workers feel empowered and motivated because they are given the opportunity to participate in the decision-making process. So your workers, your employees are going to feel valued. You're going to make them feel important. They are going to feel that they actually have a role to play at work. Whereas in an autocratic leadership style, new employees will feel confident and safe if strong leadership is provided. Remember, we said in an autocratic leadership style will, however, not go down well with existing employees that are very experienced and very knowledgeable. They won't feel valued at all because they're being ignored. Their knowledge and their skills are being ignored. But in an autocratic leadership style, if you have new employees or employees that haven't been trained 100%, they're still unsure of themselves, obviously they will feel more confident if their leader takes control. The democratic leadership style is very effective when a leader depends on the inputs of experienced followers. Remember, we said a democratic leadership style is useful if the followers, if the employees are knowledgeable and experienced and they have access to information that the leader doesn't necessarily have. So the inputs of the followers is vital because they can share information and together they can make the right decision. In an autocratic leadership style, this is more useful in a crisis situation, because there's no time being wasted to consult with everybody. So if there's a crisis situation and a quick decision has to be made, the autocratic leadership style is the best one. In a democratic leadership style, conflict situations are dealt with by involving followers in finding the best solution. So there is still going to be a consultation process in a conflict situation where two people might be disagreeing on something. Obviously, they are going to involve employees and they're going to arrive at the solution together. They're going to discuss what the best solution is going to be. In an autocratic leadership style, conflict situations are handled by the leader telling followers what they should be doing. There's no asking for opinions. There's no two-way communication in this case. The leader is just going to say, I've identified a certain amount of conflict here. This and this and this is what we're going to do, and that's it. And then the followers are just being told what to do, and they are just going to follow their instructions. The third leadership style is the laissez-faire leadership style, and the situations where this leadership style can be used are as follows. If your subordinates or employees are experts and they can take responsibility for their actions. In other words, your subordinates, your employees are 100% trustworthy, they are accountable, and each one takes responsibility for their actions. So in other words, they don't need to be checked up on all the time. Secondly, if the leader is very busy, so the leader doesn't have time to check up on every single person, and by delegating the tasks, that will increase the productivity and the job will get done quicker. If team members need to develop leadership skills, okay, so we obviously need to leave our team members, we need to delegate the tasks, and we need to leave them so that they can take responsibility for their own actions, so that they can develop leadership skills and gain some more experience. It is suitable only when employees are highly experienced and when they probably know more about the task than the leader. So when the leader is not necessarily the most knowledgeable in the situation, the employees under him is very, very experienced, very knowledgeable. They know exactly what has to be done. They know how to do their jobs. They are trustworthy. They are responsible for their actions. Then we don't need to check up on them all the time. In terms of the advantages and the disadvantages, on the positive side, followers are allowed to make their own decisions. Right, so we delegate the tasks, we tell them who needs to do what, and then we leave them. Laissez-faire means to let go. So we give them the instructions, we tell them what needs to be done, and they can make their decisions on their own. They will decide how they're going to do it, what is the timeline for getting the job done. We leave them to make those decisions on their own. Subordinates in this case have the maximum freedom because we allow them to work independently. They know what has to get done, they are responsible, they are knowledgeable. We give them the freedom to decide how they would like to do their job. We know they can work on their own and we don't have to check up on them all the time. The leader motivates the workers by trusting them to do things themselves. This is especially true in the case of very knowledgeable and experienced employees. For some employees that are very knowledgeable and very experienced, it is a slap in the face if their leader is constantly checking up on them. So in the laissez-faire leadership, if you have employees that are trustworthy and responsible, you need to trust them to do their job and not check up on them all the time. You're going to irritate and demotivate them if you're not trusting them and you're checking up on them all the time and asking what are they doing and what are they doing now and when is this going to be done by. So it's more motivating for them to leave them alone. You are showing them that you trust them and you know that they can do their job well, and they will find that very motivating. Authority is delegated, okay, which again can be motivating to competent workers. So if they feel that you're delegating the task, you're delegating the authority, you're not prescribing to them what they need to do and when they need to do it by and how they're going to need to do their job, again, it is motivating to them. You are making them feel competent, you are making them feel that you trust them, and because of this, they are going to want to prove you right. They're not going to want to disappoint you. You are trusting them, so they're going to want to let you know that your trust was valid. You are trusting them for a reason. They're going to want to prove to you that they are trustworthy and they can work on their own. So they are going to do their job well and productivity will increase. In this case, your subordinates are experts and they know exactly what they want. So they are willing to take responsibility for their actions. Remember, you cannot use this leadership style unless your subordinates know their job very well. All right, so in this case, because your subordinates are experts and they know their job inside and out, they don't need you to prescribe to them what to do and how to do it. They are willing to take responsibility for their actions. This is suitable for mentoring to motivate employees to achieve better things. Okay, again, we want our employees to prove themselves. Now, we give them this responsibility because we want them to prove themselves. It is motivate them they want to become better. They want to show the leader that they can actually do this. All right, and then lastly, it can be empowering for competent followers. Okay, as I said, they are feeling trusted, they feel valued, they feel that you know that they know their job, that you're trusting them to do their job. So it's empowering for them that they are actually left to their own devices and they can do their job because you trust them to do their job. Right, individual team members can improve by developing leadership skills. Again, because you are leaving them alone, you are not hovering over them all the time. They can develop their leadership skills also. We need to do this. Remember, in a business, we need to develop our employees to help them to become better. On the negative side, if there's a lack of clear direction, it can be demotivating. So if your employees are not 100% sure of their job and what they are supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it, and you are now leaving them and not giving any direction, not giving any guidance to them, that can be demotivating to those employees. We can only make use of the laissez-faire leadership if our workers are very competent. All right, because if they don't know what they're doing and now we leave them alone, they're going to feel that we are throwing them there in the deep side and they don't actually know what we are expecting. Employees can also be held responsible for their own work, which may lead to underperformance. All right. Now, some people are self-motivated. Some people can work on their own. They don't need anybody to check up on them, but not everybody is like that. All right. We are going to see when we get back to school who is self-motivated and who is not. There are some of you that we have now trusted that you are listening to the lessons, that you are doing your work. Some of you are not. All right. So we are trusting you to do what you need to do. And that may lead to underperformance because not everybody is trustworthy and not everybody can work on their own for themselves. It can lead to conflict when some team members act as leaders and try to dictate to other team members. Okay, so in this case now remember the leader is leaving all the employees to do their own thing. Now obviously in a team there could be people with stronger personalities, stronger leadership skills than others. So because the leader himself is letting go and is allowing people to do their own thing, some other team members might rise up and act as leaders and try and dictate to other team members what to do. And that obviously is going to lead to conflict. Okay, where one team member tries to tell another team member, let's say, for example, Oratile rises up as a leader and she's now trying to tell Joshua what to do. All right, I'm the leader, Mrs. van der Schyff, I'm the leader. Okay, I'm leaving you alone to do your job. Now Oratile decides, okay, she's got strong leadership skills and she now tries to dictate to others, to Joshua, to Brendan, to Obakwe, to Kopano. She tries and dictates to them what to do. They're going to obviously say, you don't tell me what to do. You are not my leader. My leader gave me carte blanche and I can decide what I want to do. So within the team, they are not going to like it if other team members try to act as leaders, and it is going to lead to conflict. Workers are expected to solve their own conflict situations. So if this conflict does arise because of this or because of any other reason, there's conflict, the leader himself is leaving us alone. Okay, the leader said, no, you're on your own. The task has been delegated, do what you need to do. So the leader doesn't take control in a conflict situation, and the workers are actually expected to solve their own conflict situation, which is very difficult to do without guidance. Productivity can also be compromised if there's a lack of control. Remember, with laissez-faire, we're letting go. There's no control. There's nobody checking up on whether people are doing their jobs or not. Okay? Come the time that, okay, the deadline has arrived, it could be that the task is actually not complete because certain workers didn't meet their deadlines. Certain workers, we trusted them to do their jobs, but now the deadline has arrived and they didn't do their job. And then because of this, the entire team is actually going to fail. Productivity might also be low if employees lack the necessary knowledge or skills. So again, if in a laissez-faire leadership, we're kind of leaving everybody alone and we're assuming that everybody knows how to do their job and everybody's knowledgeable and everybody is like experienced and they know exactly what to do. We trust that they know what to do. There might be some employees that don't know what to do. They are not knowledgeable enough. They are not experienced enough. They cannot work without supervision. Now, for those workers, obviously, because they don't know what to do, their productivity is going to be low. They're not going to reach their targets because we are not checking up on them and we are not guiding them, and they actually need that guidance. The charismatic leadership style is the next one we are looking at, and this is a leadership style that can be used in the following situations. If you want to sell your vision, and achieve excellent results. So in other words, if you want your subordinates, your employees, to buy into your vision, to believe in your vision. To motivate your employees because the leader is energetic and inspiring. Okay, so the charismatic leader uses his personality, uses his own energy and inspiration to motivate the employees also to reach their targets. And lastly, to inspire loyalty and hard work amongst employees because your employees is inspired by the hard work and the initiative that the charismatic leader is taking. The advantages of using a charismatic leadership style is, first of all, he is an expert at selling his vision and achieves excellent results. So this is the kind of person that is very good at selling his vision and making other people believe in his vision and in encouraging other people to work with him towards the achievement of his goals. Employees are very motivated as the leader is energetic and inspiring. So as I said, because the leader is energetic and inspired and charismatic and he can motivate his employees, employees are going to be motivated. They want to please their leader, so they tend to do what is expected of them. It inspires loyalty and hard work. As I said, because the employees like their leader, they find him very inspirational, they see his energy, and they are motivated by his zest for life. They are very loyal to their leader because they like him, and they are willing to work hard so that they can reach that vision that he sold to them. On the negative side, the leader believes more in himself than in the team. A charismatic leader sometimes can be a little bit narcissistic, where he thinks that he is the most important thing in the world. So the leader tends to believe sometimes that he is bigger than the team, and the team is just there to serve him. He is the most important person. Projects can collapse if the leader leaves the team. So the reason why this leadership is successful is because the employees are willing to work hard for the leader. They are doing what they are doing for the leader. So it's not because they believe in the project, because they believe in the solution. They believe in the leader. And if the leader leaves the team's entire reason for their existence is kind of gone, and the project in 10-1 will not even be completed. Everything will fall apart because now their leader is gone, and everything was revolving around that charismatic leader. Leaders are also intolerant of challenges and regard themselves as irreplaceable. It links in with the first one. Leaders think that they are the most important. Charismatic leaders see themselves as the most important link in this team. They're intolerant of challenges, so they don't like to be challenged and told that maybe somebody doesn't agree with them. And they think they are irreplaceable. They think they are the cat's whiskers. They think they are the reason that this team exists. And they don't believe that there's anybody better to do this job than they themselves. The last leadership style we're looking at is the transactional leadership style. And this can be used in the following situations. First of all, when the business wants to maximize employee performance, you will see that the transactional leadership style works on reward and punishment. So if the business wants to maximize employee performance, people like to know that they are working for something. So when you are offering a reward, obviously that will maximize employee performance. They would want to receive that reward by achieving their objectives. On the other hand, obviously everybody wants to avoid the punishment. All right, this can also be used in a situation where deadlines have to be met on short notice or under pressure. So in other words, if the deadline is very close and they have a tight deadline, something has to be done in a short amount of time, a transactional leadership style can be used because obviously people would want to work for that reward. All right, the third situation is when workers have a low morale. So we want to motivate them. We want to give them a reason to work harder and to perform better. So we motivate them by offering a reward. All right, people like to receive something for the effort that they are putting in. Second last situation is when the strategies or the business structures do not have to change. So there's no changes that is happening. We are just pushing on in the same way that we have been doing things. We are just continuing with those strategies. So there's no change expected. Then we use a transactional leadership style. Okay, it's not that there's new decisions that has to be made now, or there's changes that have to be decided upon, or new strategies that we have to decide on. No changes are happening. We are just continuing. And then lastly, when productivity levels are very low and it is not according to targets, so obviously we need to improve our productivity, we need to start meeting our targets, and we need to motivate our workers. We want our workers to work harder to increase their productivity. We have to give them a reason to want to work harder. So we offer them a reward for working harder and reaching their targets, or we issue a punishment for not meeting the targets. The advantages of the transactional leadership style is, first of all, it encourages employees to work hard because they will receive rewards. As I said, everybody likes to receive a reward and everybody likes to avoid punishment. All right. So employees will want to work harder, they will work towards meeting their target because they are actually going to receive something in return. It also improves their productivity because they are willing to work harder in order to receive those rewards, and it improves their morale because they are getting something in return. We are not just expecting them to work harder and work harder for nothing. We expect them to work harder, but we offer a reward in return. So their morale is better, their motivation is better, their whole attitude is better because they are going to get something in return. Business goals and objectives can be achieved because employees are motivated. Employees are motivated because if they achieve their goal or objective, there is a reward at the end of it all. They are not just working so the business can reach their objectives. Through the business reaching their objectives, the employees stand to gain something as well in the form of a reward. The reward can be a monetary reward or a non-monetary reward, like a bonus, for example. Employees know exactly what is expected of them, okay, because obviously we are going to tell them, this is your target. If you reach this target, this is the reward that you are going to be receiving. If you don't reach this target, this is the punishment that you are going to be receiving. So employees know exactly what they are supposed to be doing in order to receive those rewards. Disciplinary action procedures are also well communicated. Okay, when we give people their targets, we are literally saying, this is your target. If you don't reach your target, this is going to be the punishment. Right, so the disciplinary procedures are communicated. Everybody is very clear that if that target is not reached, there will be consequences, and they know exactly what those consequences are. On the negative side, employees may become bored and they lose any sense of creativity because they have to follow rules and procedures. All right. Here, we said this is used when there's no change expected. Now, we're just going to continue in the same way that we have been. So there's no change, there's no challenges. We just expect them to reach a new target. So employees can potentially become bored if they are expected to do the same thing over and over and over. And there's no room for creativity at all. They are just told this is what expected. They have to follow these rules and procedures. A transactional leader obviously has to monitor the work performance. If we are saying that we are putting certain expectations out there, and if you reach this target, you will receive a reward. If you don't, there will be punishment. The leader will have to know whether that target has been reached. So that means it can't, like the laissez-faire leader, just leave them. With the transactional leadership, there has to be monitoring and control of every single employee to see whether those expectations are met or have those deadlines been met. Because if we don't know if deadlines have been met, we can't say, right, receive a reward or receive your punishment. Okay, so there has to be a monitoring and a controlling of the employees on a daily basis. And this might obviously be time consuming. Okay, if you have to check up on your employees all the time, that is going to take a huge amount of time out of the leader's day. Okay, he actually has his own job to do as well, and managing and controlling is just a part of his job. So now he has to spend more time, more hours of the day checking up on employees to make sure whether they are doing what they are supposed to be doing or not. Okay, because he has to monitor. Some employees obviously will be demoralized if they never reach their targets. All right. So some people work really very hard. It's not that they are not reaching their targets because they didn't try. They did work hard. They came in early. They worked late. They put in the extra hours. They really did work hard. And still they don't reach their target. Over and over. They never seem to reach their target, even though they put in all the effort. Obviously, those employees, after a while, they're going to feel very demoralized. Now they're going to feel that they're putting in everything and they never seem to get that reward because they never ever reach that target. And at some point, they're going to stop trying. All right, because they're not reaching the target. They're going to stop trying. They're going to start thinking, well, I can't ever reach this target. I'm just going to give up. And then, obviously, demoralized. They're not going to be as productive. This is obviously not suitable for teamwork. So if teamwork is required, transactional leadership style is not applicable because when the target is not met, the whole entire team is going to be punished, even though maybe 5 of the 6 people actually did do their share and they did work very hard, but one team member had a poor performance, he didn't do his job, he came in late or whatever. Now the whole team fails to meet their target, which means the whole team is going to be punished. All right, even though 5 out of the 6 people did what was expected of them and should actually have received a reward, they won't receive a reward because one person didn't do as he was expected to, and that dragged down the whole entire team, and now nobody gets a reward and everybody gets punished for one person's non-commitment. Right, now what is important for this section with the leadership styles, you must be able to identify leadership styles from given scenarios. So you are going to be given a scenario, and the first question is going to be, identify Pitty's leadership style in this scenario. All right, and then obviously you must be able to evaluate the impact in terms of positives and negatives, and you have to make suggestions as to which leadership style would be better suited in certain situations. All right, but you know by now, you are always given a scenario and you have to take information from that scenario. So it's very important that you know your content very well so that you can identify the leadership styles from that scenario. If you don't know your content, you don't know what that leadership style entails, you will not be able to do this.